If anybody doesn't hear the question, raise your hand, and I'll repeat the question. So if everybody will just stand at the table here, please start answering. If nobody raises their hand, I'll presume everybody heard the question, and I won't repeat it. After we do that round of questions, we've already got a heckler here. We'll do 2 or 3 minute closings, and that will conclude our beginning. Thanks for coming. So starting with Bruce Brown, because it comes before C. Bruce Brown has been elected the district attorney in the 5th Judicial District since 2012. He's a resident of Evergreen in Clear Creek County and has been a licensed attorney since 1986. Bruce was a deputy public defender in Los Angeles County before opening a private practice, emphasizing criminal law and becoming a licensed attorney. In 2002, he moved with his younger brother to Colorado and continued a robust private practice in Springfield. He's tried over 100 cases to completion, including 12 murder cases. Bruce has 3 children and loves living in the outdoors, skiing, biking, and traveling. Bruce is running as a grandfather. Bruce Perry. In case you don't know, Bruce is in the military. We did this alphabetically. Bruce was honorably discharged from the U.S. Army at Fort Carson, Colorado, as a sergeant in 1979. He attended the University of Colorado Boulder and the University of Denver Law School. He passed the bar on his first attempt in 1989. Bruce was the first intern hired by the 5th Judicial District in Clear Creek and then transferred to Eagle County as deputy DA. Over the last 27 years, he's lived and worked in the 5th Judicial District. Mr. Perry states that he's running because in the Army he learned that if something seems wrong, either step up or shut up. And Bruce is running as a Republican. Last, but certainly not least, we have Sonnenalp, who's been a Colorado licensed attorney since 2001. She began her career in the Front Range before moving to Summit County in 2014. Prior to her move to Colorado, she worked as an intern at the Federal Public Defender's Office in Arizona, working on death penalty and coyote cases. She has a passion for our community and promises a modern approach to justice. She's running on a platform of bringing humanity to justice through restorative justice programs and drug solving, focusing office resources effectively and fully prosecuting defendants that pose a serious danger to the community. Sonnenalp is running as an independent. I will ask everybody to ask whatever questions they have, but do try and be respectful. And with that, we'll start with other things.
Mayor?
Yeah, go.
Thank you. Thanks to the DA5 Bar Association, Ron and Chris for pulling this together, and of course for you all for being here on this beautiful fall night. 4 years ago, I entered office under unusual circumstances. It was a bit of a hostile takeover because I had been highly critical of the district attorney's office. So I understand where they're coming from when they are highly critical of me. It's part of the territory. We turned the hostile takeover into an extreme makeover. We have replaced the entire attorney staff in the last 4 years. And I'm very proud that the leadership team that's been assembled and is actually here tonight includes Heidi McCollum, who is a native of Eagle County as the assistant district attorney, and Joe Kerwin, who is the chief deputy and a resident of Edwards. And the truth is that one district attorney cannot try all the cases or work all the cases in the bid. It is really a team effort. We have a district that's over 3,500 square miles, 4 counties, Clear Creek, Summit, Eagle, and Lake. And I do my best to be in all of those counties all of the time, which is a rather difficult and daunting thing to do. In the 5th, we have about 8,000 filed cases a year, so it's a lot to keep your eye on. I do pride myself on being involved in most, if not all, of the most serious crimes, and then to the degree that I can, a lot of the less serious misdemeanors and traffic offenses as well. We had a lot of solid successes in the 5th. I was first chair, which means I was the lead prosecutor on a homicide that was tried to completion in November of 2015, where Penelope Cunningham, a former nun who was shot and left for dead up Gypsy Creek Road. More recently, Jesus Miranda, who shot a Good Samaritan as he tried to intercept a robber leaving a store. He was sentenced to 42 years. And another interesting prosecution, Cynthia Johnson, who basically was burglarizing banks across western Colorado. Heidi McCullough led the prosecution on that, and she received 18 years in prison. But, you know, years in prison don't necessarily characterize the important work we do. I'm just as proud as the cases that we didn't file. For example, there was a baby, a toddler, I think he was 18 months in Summit County, who drowned in a bathtub while his mother was cooking dinner, just feet away from where he was, but she was inattentive for a few minutes. And while we could have easily charged that case, instead we decided to make that a deferred prosecution. And more recently, we had another case where a 16-year-old boy from the eastern U.S. who was headed for a ski competition collided with a skier at the Vail Resorts over on the Summit side in Breckenridge and killed him, and we gave him juvenile diversion. Those are cases that are staffed very, very carefully, weighing all the benefits of prosecution as well as the impact on an offender's life, and very closely with the stakeholders, which in this case are the victims and the police officers involved. There is acrimony between defense attorneys and prosecutors, and I know there's a few defense attorneys in the room, maybe half the audience, in fact. And why does that acrimony exist? Well, partly, we're an adversarial system. That's partly the reason why. The other was the change that I promised was to take crime seriously, was to be tougher, if you will. Even though I think I have a balanced approach, that was part of the philosophy that I brought to the office. And so I think it's fairly natural and to be expected that defense attorneys wouldn't necessarily feel as comfortable with a tough prosecutor. One thing I want to throw out just before I stop my little, I guess this is my opening statement, is that what I'd like to see changed is I'd like to see, and since this is a bar-sponsored event, I feel it's technically a very narrow issue, but appropriate since so many attorneys are here. I'd like to see the judges impose a requirement that before we file motions and before we litigate as attorneys and talk to each other, it's called meet and confer, and it happens as a matter of course in all civil cases. It should happen in criminal cases too. And I proposed this to the judges of the 5th Judicial, and they haven't been too interested. But I think if that type of a proposal came from the Bar Association in conjunction with its members, that could get some traction. Thank you very much.
Next we have Bruce Carey.
Thank you, Ron. Thank everyone for being here. I know virtually all of you, there are a couple that I don't know. I've been here 27 years. I graduated from law school in 1989 and prosecuted my first case at jury trial before I was licensed as an attorney, and I won it. I came over to Eagle in 1989 and prosecuted the first case of reckless skiing ever to go to trial in the state of Colorado. I'm running because I am fed up with the way the DA's office is being run. It is absolutely disintegrating in the relationships between deputy DAs and the judges in front of whom they practice, deputy DAs and defense attorneys, deputy DAs and law enforcement. With law enforcement, we have a micromanagement of the investigation of crimes by the DA's office. That is the province of law enforcement. The DAs should be prosecuting the offenses. The judges should control how their courtroom is run. November 10th I will go around with the deputy DAs that are staying and ask the judges how they want their courtroom run. And we will run it the way the judge wants their courtroom. I've been watching this DA's office for the past 27 years, and I've never chosen to run before. Michelson, Goodby, Hurlburt, Democrats and Republicans, and I've never chosen to throw my hat in the ring. But this time I have, and it is because of the way cases are being tried, picked, and lost. Last week, in order to try to get a second conviction out of a defendant, the DA's office failed to join two charges together in a case in Summit County and lost over $500,000 in restitution for a homeowners association. Last week, they wasted 2 weeks in a jury trial where every expert said that the person was not guilty by reason of insanity. Every expert. And yet, the DA's office thought, no, we are the expert, took it to a jury, and lost. Not guilty by reason of insanity was the verdict. There was 2 weeks that could have been spent doing other things other than the time and money on losing that effort. Every year, this DA's office has gone back to all 4 counties, to their county commissioners, asking for more and more money, a higher and higher budget. The DA, the assistant DA, and another of their attorneys are not carrying a designated caseload. I would implement a requirement that every paid attorney in the office carry a designated caseload. Lately, over the past 3.5 years lately, we've been having stacking of charges where it seems as though they look at a fact pattern and try to figure out, like a law school problem, of how many possible charges can I get out of this, and then amend it to read that way. It builds up conviction rates, it builds up crime stats, but it's not doing justice. I would like to see some of his campaign promises fulfilled. I would like to see a program of restorative justice implemented. Boulder County has one. I would send Deb Baldwin down there to learn what they're doing and bring it back to the FIT. I would like to see adult diversion, especially in mental health issues. I would send Beth Ann Mallory from the 9th down to the 9th, copy that, and bring it here to the 5th. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to implement these programs. The problem-solving courts, like Judge Seamus and Judge Sullivan, work very well. I would like to see those implemented throughout the district. Thank you.
So now Murdia.
Does this come out by any chance?
I just pulled it out.
I'm gonna stand for my opening because I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories here that are very personal to me, and I don't think I can do it sitting down, to be honest with you. One of the stories is from when I was much younger and a stupid kid. I was in Arizona and I got a DUI. I can come up with a million different reasons of why I drove that time. But I'm not gonna make any excuses. I got my DUI and I 100% deserved it. I consider myself lucky. I was terrified going through the system. As long as I can remember, I've been wanting to be an attorney. And I really thought my life was over, that no law school will have me. There's no way I can get in. There's no way I can get a job. I lost, I think, 30 pounds. I couldn't sleep. I cried every day. I was too terrified to tell my mom. And so I got a public defender. And this public defender looked at me and said, "You did it, suck it up." So I did, I sucked it up, I pled guilty. And in Arizona, under Joe Arpaio, I did 10 days in Tent City. But I had a judge, and I filed myself a motion to expunge my record. And I had to go in front of this judge because to expunge a DUI is a big deal. And in the state of Colorado, we don't allow it. And the judge decided after he heard my story to allow me to expunge my record. And I can't tell you what that was like for me. He gave me my life back. And throughout the years, I've been very honest about it. I was honest about it when I applied to law school. I've been honest about it in job applications. But in that moment, the judicial system, in my eyes, succeeded. I paid my debt to society. And I went through it. And I consider myself a success story. Not because I'm an attorney, but because I have perspective. Because I get it. I know what it's like. And I know what that judge did to me because in my eyes, 13 years ago, he gave me my life back. And I don't remember his name, but I do remember his face. Now I want to tell you a different story. And I've gotten permission from this person to talk about his story. His name is Tao. I'm not going to talk about his last name, but Tao, from what I heard, was an angry young man, bartender, had too much to drink one night. A bar fight broke out. And Tao punched someone and broke this other person's orbital. So he was looking at second-degree assault charges and 5 years of prison. Judge Romeo from Summit County took him into drug court. When I met Tao, he was 3 months from graduating from drug court. And to this day, I mean, this kid, I can't tell you how amazing he is. He's so awesome. And I've been friends with him, and I decided I'll go to his drug court graduation. And when I went to his graduation, I know JD was